Good afternoon. My name is Mike Pender, President of Florida Institute of CPAs for the 2010-2011 year. And I've been doing a series of interviews with members of industry. Today with me is Paul Stahlin, Chairman of the AICPA, a member in industry, and we're going to discuss his journey through his career and some of the ideas that he has as a member in industry towards our profession. Paul, could you tell me a little bit about your journey in starting in when you first started your career up to the point in which you became chairman of the AICPA?
Sure, Mike, and good day. Mike, my journey is a little different than previous chairs of the AICPA. We've had only one chair in industry going back 11 years ago with Olivia Kirtley. She was the first member in industry and actually happened to be the first woman chair of the AICPA, so she was a groundbreaker in two ways. It's been about 11 years since we've had another member in industry chair. So in 124 years of the AICPA's history, I'm only the second member that's a chair in industry. But, you know, I guess when I look back at my career, and I started, my foundation was in public accounting. It was with Price Waterhouse, and I spent 6 years there. Quite often it was a very formative 6 years when I look back at that when I talk about it, because it was really my base in accounting. When I left public accounting, what I found, Mike, was that I missed the camaraderie of CPAs and missed the professionalism of dealing with CPAs on a daily basis. And so what I did was I looked and I said, well, where can I go to get that tie back into the profession? And I really came back to my state society, the New Jersey State Society at the time. And I look back at that, and I look at that as my professional home of choice, if you will, because what I did was I surrounded myself talking to CPAs. My network was back again with the CPA profession and dealing with the issues. It not only became my source for CPE, but really my source for professional pride. And with that, Mike, it's been tremendous because I got involved in some of the committees. I chaired a number of the committees. Quite often when you work for one company, I found in my career, is you can be narrow in your thinking. And being involved with the CPA profession and being involved with the state society, it allowed me to broaden that thinking. Outside of the same thing that I did every day, I was able to do some other things and broaden my leadership abilities too. So with that, long story, but I think it's important for your membership to understand that it's going out to the wider community of CPAs, making sure that there is a tie back to the profession, and it allowed me, for those leadership steps, to become ultimately president of New Jersey Society of CPAs. Then I got on the council. I was very involved. They asked me to do a number of things within the AICPA, to be on the strategic planning committee, to be on some strategic task force for members in industry, and ultimately on the board of the AICPA. And I did chair the audit committee for the AICPA and was on a number of those committees, and ultimately they asked me to be chair of the institute. And I was humbled, but I tell you, it's been a great experience. So you know, I still think, though, my professional home at my state society, because when I go back to my state society, you know, I've known people for 25, 35 years, and the bonds that you have there within business kind of go beyond just CPA. It's friendships. Mm-hmm. So it's been a great ride.
You know, as an observation, as I've done these interviews with Florida CPAs that are involved in industry, every one of them have had an early part of their career in public accounting, and I think that builds a core strength to their life in industry by having that background. So.
It does, although, you know, for those members that are, and a lot more members are coming in through the non-traditional public accounting vehicle, I think it's even more important for those members now to get involved with their state society, because with that, it allows you to kind of get a full understanding of the profession, not just within your company, but outside, and see how public accounting kind of interfaces there. So I think that's even a added plus for our members that have not been in public.
Yeah. Thank you. affecting our profession? I know that's a big question because obviously the world is changing so quickly that challenges are on the horizon constantly, but any ones that stand out that might affect members in industry specifically?
Yeah, I think some of the challenges are also some of our opportunities, and the way I look at it, Mike, is the world is changing rapidly. But 15 years ago, we defined in what we call the Vision Project, making sense of a complex and changing world. And that changing world seems like every day the world is changing, whether on an economic basis or on whether it's disasters, natural disasters, unnatural disasters. There's a lot going on that we as accountants, as CPAs, we have the ability to make sense of that complex and changing world. So that's one area. One of the other challenges, I think, is really looking forward as we go into the future, making sure that we position our profession not for today and not just for tomorrow, but for going out for the next 10, 15 years. And the global relationships we have and the global interaction is going to become stronger and stronger. The economic demographics of not only our country but of the world are going to change so much that we as a profession here in the United States has to make sure that we're positioned well into the future on a global environment. So that's kind of the second thing. I think the third thing, it's kind of a really pressing issue today, is private company financial reporting. And this affects our members in industry, it affects our members in public accounting, and it affects the users of our financial statements. And that is something where we've talked about it for 35 years. We're at a crossroads now, and to get separate differential standards is oh so important for our members and for the users of financial statements. And it's a game changer if we can get that accomplished. So that's one thing I'm working hard every day to make sure that we move that forward. And I think we're making progress, and I'm hopeful for that.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the most significant things that I hear as I travel the state with practitioners about that private company gap and the expectations. So we're looking forward to see how that plays out.
Sure.
Just to go back for a second, the AICPA has recently created a joint venture with SEMA to create a chartered global management accountant. Would you like to say a few things about that
Sure.
venture?
It's one of the things I kind of look back and even I'm only 8 months into my year journey. I am very proud of that. It's something we've been working, our Business and Industry Executive Committee for our members in industry has evaluated the need for a separate credential for our members in industry. And this has been kind of a 2.5 to 3 year journey. We've evaluated, and the Business and Industry Executive Committee evaluated on behalf of the membership. They did a lot of research, a lot of insight into what the needs were, what the demands were, a lot of survey work, and also a lot of investigation on the end product. And what we did was we, as the Institute, we identified where there were potential areas that we could marry up our resources. And one of them was, that really stuck out as kind of fit all the needs we had as members in industry, is a global credential that pairing up with what we call the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. It's an organization based out of London, but they're in 29 locations throughout the world, as well as they service members in 168 countries. They were not really in North America and South America, partly because of our dominance and partly because of the Institute of Management Accountants was so strong. And what we've done is we've teamed up our council, our governing council, as well as our board, had recommended to that council to create a joint venture. And that will provide 170,000 members of SEMA to join up with our 370,000 members also to create about 550,000 members that can talk about advocacy on behalf of the profession. Those are management accountants, and this will be a designation for the only entree into the United States for the AICPA. You need to be a CPA, and then you can get this global credential, and as you said, it's the Chartered Global Management Accountant. And that'll be issued through the joint venture and actually through the AICPA. So it'll allow our members in industry to have a kind of a new credential, and over time it'll have a syllabus of learning that will enhance the value of the CPA for our members in industry. So I'm excited about it. I think it's great. You know, specifically right now for our members in industry in the short term, but for the long term, for the ability, for the international presence is going to be oh so strong and oh so supportive of what we do as CPAs.
Mm-hmm. As Mr. Friedman says, the world is flat, and this certainly is going to bring this world of accounting closer, I think, by this designation. So I think that I'm excited to see how this rolls forward.
Yes, although when he wrote that book, The World is Flat, I don't think he anticipated the bumps along the way we had with the economic cycle. So, but it is certainly the world is flat.
Yeah, thank you.